Hey guys, welcome to my 2 subscriber special. Today I'm going to show you how to make an ET-worthy map. We're going to start with the route, which is probably the most important part of a track. A track that has a good route and mid-decoration could probably still get ET. I usually start the track higher up in the sky so that I can have more flexibility when creating the route, and make sure to play test as much as possible. While building your route, sometimes you want to put pieces that are not on grid. To do this, you need to go over to the left, and there's 2 buttons. One that will allow you to put track pieces inside of other track pieces, and one that will allow you to actually place blocks off grid. If there's a section of gameplay that comes just a bit too early, you can always cut that section and move it. Now this next part is optional, but you can always start planning out terrain and architecture. And then I add a little bit more gameplay, so just always make sure to playtest new sections. So I made these a little bit wider to make the transitions a little bit easier. And that's pretty much everything you need to know about the route. So just keep working on that, make it about 20 seconds, and I'll just show you the finished route that I made. And now we're on to terrain, which is my favorite part of making a map. I will go over some simple techniques for training, and then we'll just probably skip past most of it. So what I'm doing here is just moving the track down so that I don't have to do that much terrain, because I'm planning on extending it all the way down to the Polytrack's natural ground. Now when you're making terrain, the most important thing to note is what you're actually trying to make. So if it's grass, it's probably going to be a little bit smoother, using mostly slopes and just in general more curved pieces. So we end up with something looking a little bit like this, with just smooth grassy terrain. And next we're gonna move on to the rocky terrain. So this is gonna be a lot of sharper objects. You can also use these on a different axis as a slope. And then there's this last part of the terrain which is supposed to be dirt, so it's also gonna be a lot of slopes and curved pieces. Make sure that you fill in these gaps that sometimes appear when making this kind of terrain with blocks so that the player can actually see them. And now we skip 30 minutes to an hour of training to look at the finished terrain. We have the grassy section, some dirt, and a little waterfall. Then we have the cave, and finally the ending dirt section over there. One important thing to note is that not all of the gaps have been filled up, and that's because during the actual playing of the track, you can't actually see them, and so they're just left empty in order to optimize the track. Now, I might not be the best at architecture, but I can make some simple buildings. And so I'm just gonna make some basic structures that blend in a little bit with the terrain. As you can see, they're pretty simple and kind of look stupid, but that does not matter. So I made a couple more and then decided to stop embarrassing myself. Now all that's left are some pretty simple finishing touches, like this pretty cool tree that I made, my logo, which I also think is pretty cool. Finishing off with putting Jamal, the orca, in my track, and you'll probably be able to find him pretty easily, but I'm not going to show you exactly where he is. Finally, I added some checkpoints, and now I'll just showcase the finished track. Alright, and that's the end of the tutorial. I hope this has helped. Thank you for watching.